What's up guys, it's Omir and welcome to the Chelsea-Liverpool post-match analysis video, and I'm fuming, I'm so angry. How could Liverpool come to this point at the season? We had such an amazing run in the Premier League, and in the last few weeks it is all falling apart in terms of the league performance because we could miss out on Champions League football. When at one point we were like 10 points clear of Chelsea and they just kept plugging away, kept grinding results out. On the other hand, Liverpool had a bad attitude in my opinion against West Brom, against Stoke, where we thought 80% or 90% is enough to win that game, win those games, but it isn't. And today Liverpool looked like a team who just ran themselves into the ground qualifying for the Champions League final, and we just ran out of steam, ran out of creativity, and more than mentally than physically, Liverpool players looked dead and buried, so tired, so lack of creativity, lack of pace, lack of dynamism in midfield. We are really missing the likes of Emre Can and Alexander-Arnold. Sorry, we are missing Emre Can, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and players like that, dynamic midfielders. And Liverpool are just in a little bit of a trouble in my opinion, because Chelsea will probably beat Huddersfield at home and then Newcastle away, and that means that if those two things happen, Liverpool have to win against Brighton at home, who of course they are already stayed up, they have nothing to play for, but that will be such an intense, nervy game. And Liverpool sometimes struggle against teams who park the bus, and weirdly Chelsea did exactly the same. And I think Chelsea, their tactics were spot on today, because their idea was to just sit back, soak up the pressure, hit Liverpool on the counter-attack, or hope that a Giroud header wins them the game, or the Eden Hazard magic, and that's exactly what happened. The Giroud header, let's talk about that. Van Dijk, what are you doing? Lovren, what are you doing? Why aren't our centre-backs, both of them or one of them, marking their only goal threat in the box? Their only striker who was in the box is Giroud, and he has a free header in the 6-yard box, and of course Giroud doesn't, oh my goodness, doesn't miss those. I'm so angry and frustrated. Sorry if this video is a rant, but I'm just furious at Liverpool, and I blame partly the recruitment, because I think Liverpool are one midfielder short. We are one midfielder short because now we are down to the bare bones. We had to start teenager Alexander-Arnold in centre midfield today. That's how thin our midfield options are at the moment. And Henderson was probably really tired, or he had a dead leg after the Roma semi-final, and I'm just so angry and frustrated because at one point we looked like we would cruise to the Champions League places and wrap it up with weeks to go. And had we won against West Brom, where we were 2-0 up, we were cruising against West Brom, and Liverpool took their foot off the gas. Liverpool players thought that the game is done, that we are there, and you cannot do that in the Premier League. How many times do we have to learn this lesson? Last season it was the same, and last season we needed to win on the last day of the season to secure Champions League football, and this season it might take the same. And it's just a travesty, because in my opinion we have been so much better in terms of playing football than Chelsea. We scored more than, almost like 20 more goals than them. We have a much better goal difference, but the results are what count, and Liverpool just dropped. We have drawn too many games against smaller sides, and to be fair, this season our record against the top teams is really bad. We lost away to Chelsea, to Manchester United, to Manchester City, to Tottenham. We drew against Arsenal. So from the 5 away games against top 6 opposition, Liverpool got 1 point from 5 games. That is shocking, that is unacceptable, and we conceded 2 against Man United, we conceded 3 against Arsenal away, 4 against Tottenham and 5 against Manchester City. Last season we have been so good against the top 6. We have been ahead first in the mini league between the top 6 sides, but this season we have been much better against smaller sides like the 7th and below. But against the top 6 we struggled. The only team that we have beaten are, you know, at home we have beaten Manchester City, which was great, but we couldn't beat Man United, we couldn't beat Tottenham, we couldn't beat Chelsea. We have beaten Man City and Arsenal. Those are the 2 teams that we have beaten at home out of the top 6, and I'm so angry at this game because Liverpool's passing was just so bad. Sometimes we couldn't even make a simple pass, and it was evident that the players were mentally very tired and exhausted, and they just couldn't get up to their usual very high standards. And Jurgen Klopp must be holding his head like this. How could we allow this situation to happen when we had top 4 in the palm of our hands and we threw it away by taking our foot off the gas against West Brom, against Stoke? And it's still evident that the squad is just paper thin. It's not good enough. And somehow we managed to get to the Champions League final, which I think is a miracle in itself, seeing how few options Liverpool have. I mean, we are playing, you know, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Andrew Robertson, very young players at fullback. We brought on Dominic Solanke today, and he had a couple of chances to score, but he's just not good enough. I mean, he should go out on loan probably to a mid-table Premier League side just to get minutes, because coming on for like 10-15 minutes at this point in his career, that's not what he needs. And he's not a good enough backup option, I'm sorry, but he's 2 levels below Firmino, Mane and Mohamed Salah in my opinion. And he's a young player still. He has the potential to grow and to improve and to become as good as Firmino, Mane or Salah, but he needs to play week in, week out. So I think we should sign somebody like Nabil Fekir, which I think I will make a video about him tomorrow, regarding the rumors that Nabil Fekir's main destination could be Liverpool. That's his priority, and Liverpool are in pole position to sign him, and he's exactly the player that we need. And I think next season we need to improve the squad, because yes, even if we win the Champions League, it's a brilliant achievement. I mean, hats off to all the players. I'm not taking that away from them, but it just shows that practically if we get 2 or 3 injuries in midfield, we are toast. We just don't have good enough backup players. James Milner was really tired by the end of the game. Jordan Henderson came on and he was also off the pace. He misplaced passes. Salah had one of his worst games for 6 months in a Liverpool shirt. He had at one point he had the fewest touches out of all the Liverpool players, and that's just really the result of him not getting a rest basically all season. He has been playing week in, week out, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 games every single week, and it looks like that our form has just declined at the worst possible time of the season. That's now 2 losses in a row for Liverpool. We lost 4-2 to Roma, and yes, we qualified for the Champions League in that game, but again, the second half performance in the Roma game was a worry, and this game now, the performance in this game is definitely a big worry for Liverpool. We need to pick up our form, otherwise this great season could turn into a disaster. If we don't win against Brighton, and then if we don't beat Real Madrid, and those 2 things can happen with Liverpool on being on this form, then a great season could turn into a disastrous one. Imagine on one hand we could win the Champions League and qualify for the Champions League in top 4, or on the other hand we could finish 5th place and not win and lose the Champions League final. I don't even want to think about it. And then it could turn into a really a disastrous season, because next season we would go into the Europa League, and it would be just a huge opportunity missed, in my opinion, in terms of building this Liverpool squad up, which still needs to be improved this summer. These last few weeks have shown that Liverpool need more players. But let me know what did you think of the game in the comments below. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed this. Goodbye!